Okay, so I thought I'd talk a little bit about wheel boxes. This is the one out of my TR4A, and it was a new one that I bought just recently. And here's a wheel box out of a TR6. You can tell right off the bat the first thing is this noticeable is this gear. On the TR4A gear, there's 22 teeth on this gear. If you look at the one for the TR6, it's got 32 teeth per gear. So that kind of gets back to the whole idea of the sweep of difference between the TR4A 2-speed motor and the TR6 2-speed motor. There's some talk where people have bought a different drive gear for the wiper motor that has a 90-degree sweep as opposed to 106, I believe it is, or 115 for the TR6. And that all has so there's a couple of ways you can go. You can use the TR4A wheel box, but you have to change the drive gear in the wiper motor to a 90-degree gear. And I think you can buy those from an outfit in England. I'm not sure, but then you got to pay freight, and I think the gear's about $30. So you're probably looking at, a $75 bill by the time you have the thing at your front door. So the other alternative, if you're going to go with a TR6 wiper motor, is to find yourself a decent pair of TR6 wheel boxes that have the correct gear in it, so you don't have to do anything to the motor at all. I want to talk a little bit about the sweep angle of the wiper arms, and it's controlled by this gear. By the way, Ellen Yankoff has on his Rusty Beauties channel has a real nice video about him adjusting the sweep angle of the wipers on a TR4A by repositioning the center of this pin here that this little crankshaft goes, or what do you want to call it, a connecting rod, I guess, that basically one side is hooked to the wheel that rotates, and then this other end goes into the end of the cable that oscillates back and forth, and that drives the wheel boxes. So anyway, it's on this gear. Maybe you can see it. It has a number stamped on there. In this case, it's 105 degrees. I don't know if you can see that or not. So that's the stock wheel for a TR6. And when I was talking about the outfit in England that sells wheels with different degrees of sweep, it's basically what they're doing is they're repositioning this pin here. So the gear itself has the same, they don't adjust the number of teeth on the gears or anything like that. It's basically the position of this pin here. It's sort of like the rod journal on a crankshaft, and what you do is, depending on where that is, it adjusts the sweep angle of the wiper arms. Which you can see where this is going to rotate back and forth. If it's a smaller diameter, it's going to be a shorter sweep. If it's a larger diameter, it's going to be a longer sweep. So anyway, that's what I'm talking about as far as the sweep angle. So, and the gear, when I was mentioning the gear sweep angle, and they're all stamped with a number there. So anyway, I think the TR4A one was 121 degrees or something like that. So anyway, that's my explanation of the sweep angle. Okay, so I have the wiper boxes and the tubes all cleaned up. They turned out pretty nice. So this is the whole thing here. And these are different because I noticed these have nuts to hold the two halves together. And these things have these screws. So, so anyway, I got this ready to go back in the car. Yeah, and here you can see, I'm just going to lay this over here. So you can see it's quite the wheel box that they sell now for the TR4A and the TR4, and I think the TR6, I think it's all the same one, is about 3/8 of an inch wider on each end. So, which of course is going to affect the length of this rod here too. So anyway, well actually what I could do, here's the rod out of my car with the TR4. So if I line this end up here, Sorry about the lighting here, but you can see it's, what is that, about 3/8 of an inch shorter for the one that was in the car. So anyway, yeah. So anyway, that's where we're at. Next step is to put that in the car. So I can't hardly wait. Okay, stay tuned. What I want to end up with is roughly have the TV here, and then the two pipes go off to each side. Okay, you can see right there's the hose from the driver's side. Little nozzle. So let's go back inside and connect those together. Okay, so there's the two hoses hooked together on the T. Now I just have to run the other hose from the top back through that same hole and hook it up, and I should be able to pull everything back in there and it'll be all set to go, at least for this part. Okay, so I have all three of the pipes together, and I'll move the light here. You can see I have my new hose coming out of the top there to put a new grommet in it. But anyway, that's it for the inside of the plenum. I still have to route this. Oh, shoot. Sorry about that. Oh, Jesus. What a... Okay, so I still have to route this hose across behind the dash to go out to the actual pump reservoir, and then this part will be done, and then the fun part of putting the wheel boxes in comes. Okay, here we go. Okay, so I'm going to start with the passenger side wheel box. Got my two magnets with the nuts for to attach the back cover to the wheel box. Got my short tube and my long tube here. So I lubed it up with this Molly EP grease. I like this stuff. It's real nice stuff. So anyway, enough stalling. Let's get this in. Well, okay, I got the wheel boxes in. That was a nightmare. Had to get my wife to come down and help me get this one on. So she pushed on the top piece while I got underneath there and got it into the spot it had to be. So anyway, now onto the one of the last parts of this nightmare, and that's to put those damn tubes in. So wish me luck, boys. Okay, I got them in. See they're turning. Awesome. You know, one thing I noticed too is that the TR6 wheel boxes, these old ones, are about twice as easy to operate as the new TR4A ones I got. I guess it's the same old story. They don't make them like they used to. Okay, so with that done, I can finish routing my new washer hose down through this hole here, and to the pump at the bottom of this tank, and then I can start working on mounting the TR6 motor. I'm not sure if I got to take this old piece off or not. I'm going to try to keep it on there just in case. You never know. So yeah, the next step is to finish the mounting of the motor, and then all the mechanical stuff will be done for the wiper upgrade. I just wanted to make a couple of comments about installing these tubes. First is, this is the passenger side. There's this short tube that comes out of the right hand side of the wheel box on this side, and it's kind of a pain. It's hard to obviously to hold the tubes up and put this cover on and then put the nuts on and all that stuff. So what I did was I had some contact cement, just that weldwood stuff, and I basically put a little bit on the end of the tube by the ferrule on the short tube, and then a little bit on the bracket that's not the cover, but the actual wheel box, where the that short tube rests, and just let it sit for 15 minutes or so. Stuck them together, and that held the short tube into the wheel box as I put the tubes in and everything. The other thing was once I put the long tube into this and had it all tightened up, when I went over to the other side, the tube was about 1/4 of an inch short of going into the little slot thing that's, where the tube goes here, where the ferrule tube goes. So what I did is I loosened up the cover a little bit on this side, and to where I could slide the tube a little bit, and then loosen the nut on the top, the chrome nut that holds the wheel box into the cowl. And what I did is I pushed on the ferrule right here, just pushed it to the left towards the passenger, the driver's side. The tubes were installed on the other wheel box, but as I said, if this was the one on the passenger or the driver's side, this ferrule was back about here. It was about 1/4 of an inch out. So what I did is I just, with both those chrome nuts loosened, and this loosened on this side, and this one loosened on the driver's side, I just pushed on this ferrule, and of course it deflected the wheel box, and it pushed the tube to the left enough to where I heard a little pop on the other side. And when I went over there, the ferrule on the driver's side had popped into the retaining slot in the wheel box. So that's just a little, tidbit that, and I, talking to my friend Jerry, who's doing the same upgrade, he had an identical problem. So I just wanted to pass that little nugget on, that you might want to, you can loosen everything up a little bit, and then just kind of, shove it a little bit this way or that to get everything to line up, and then it'll pop right together. So anyway, that's it.
That's it.